All right. So one thing I do want to say real quick, we know we're coming back next week for those people doing face to face. I got about for my third block for ethnic studies is about 13 of you guys coming back. Majority of you guys are still staying remote. For those people that's coming back, you guys are gonna have assigned seats. The seat may be a little damp when you walk in because the class comes before you. I have 4 straight classes, so I have no breaks. They're gonna wipe down the seats, but then you might want to get some paper towel to make sure it's not damp, but that's just to make sure you know it's clean. And then you have to do the same thing on your way out the door. We're gonna be on B lunch. So for everybody in the class, our lunch will be from 12:04 to 12:27. Okay. For those people that are coming back, that's gonna be my only break of the day. So I'm sorry, kind of, but y'all can't stay in here to eat lunch. You got to go to the cafe to eat lunch. There's gonna be some more information being sent out to you guys. But the classes are gonna kind of go back to basically like about 88 minutes. However, third block is gonna be a very long class because lunches are there. But the class is gonna kind of go up about another 18 minutes. We're getting close to the 90 minutes we normally have in class. I'm gonna post the schedule and everything on CTLS for you guys. But I just want to let you guys know that before we got started. All right, so right now, make sure you guys have went into CTLS. You open up these 2 links right here. Don't worry about doing nothing with it. We are going to have an in-class debate today on W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. The documents you should have up is these 2 documents right here. They come up. It's loading. All right, so you only have 2 documents. One is going to be Booker T. Washington, and then the other document is going to be W.E.B. Du Bois. And then you guys have a graphic organizer that you should have also pulled up out of CTLS. And what you guys are going to be doing is filling out these documents to help you prepare for the debate. You have the sourcing before the document, contextualization, close reading, answer a couple of questions there. You got to do one on Booker T. Washington and one on W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay. Now, to give you guys some more background, I'm going to show this video here. I'm actually debating. I want to show this one. All right, I want to show this one here. This is going to talk about the difference between Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. Showing this to you guys, getting y'all set up for civil rights because this was Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X, if you will, during the civil rights movement before that happened. So let's give you guys some background on Booker T. Washington versus W.E.B. Du Bois. You can still use this. You can take notes on it. What I probably would suggest right now is that you guys do maybe 3-2-1, 1-3-2-1 talking about Du Bois, 1-3-2-1 talking about Washington. That way you guys can use this as background information for your debates. Is everybody following me what we're doing? Right now, we're just watching this video. I'm suggesting that you guys do a 3-2-1 on it. Okay? Cool? Okay. All right, let's watch the video.
Despite emancipation, racial equality for African Americans remains elusive. By the early 20th century, 2 very different approaches to the struggle unfold from 2 very different leaders, W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. Washington, a former slave, was profoundly influenced by his education at the Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute, a school that focused on teaching students trades with which they could earn a living and be self-reliant. But the approach placed little importance on critical and independent thinking. Washington adapted Hampton's model to the school he founded in Tuskegee, Alabama.
The Tuskegee model emphasized that the surest way for African Americans to gain acceptance is through struggle and starting at the bottom, and to not concern themselves with being involved with politics and this idea of agitating for ongoing civil rights and being outspoken publicly. But if you just worked hard and kept your nose to the grindstone, you'd be accepted into society. Well, this idea of being apolitical perhaps didn't always extend to Mr. Washington himself. Mr. Washington was very involved in national politics, particularly after he gave a speech at a national cotton exposition in Atlanta, Georgia.
Washington's speech offered Southern whites a reassuring message.
Do not be worried. We have no desire to pose a threat to you. We want to work alongside you. As you progress, we will progress. As we progress, we will surely work to uplift the South in this progression.
W.E.B. Du Bois was a contemporary of Washington's who was born into a free black family in Massachusetts and grew up in an integrated town. He emphasized the liberal arts rather than vocational education and opposed Washington's gradualist approach to black progress.
Du Bois advocated the right of African Americans to engage in what he termed self-direction, to establish their own ideas, their own strategies, their own timetables. And he repudiated the idea that we should wait on others, particularly white America, to tell us what's right to do and when we should do it. Du Bois was the first to gain a PhD from Harvard University. He studied in the liberal arts. He believed the idea of educating for education's sake, exposing African Americans to different philosophies and beliefs would enable the community to produce what he would call a talented tenth. And this is the idea of a stratum of leaders who would think big, who would lead the African American community in big and grand ways other than simply earning degrees in order to practice a particular vocation.
Washington and Du Bois's differing approaches would continue to shape the struggle for racial equality well into the 20th century. Du Bois would play a key role in the emergence of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People as the preeminent civil rights organization of the 1920s and 1930s. Washington's emphasis on self-help would inspire black nationalists like Marcus Garvey.
All right. Just a little bit of background. Now we got one more video to watch. Give me 1 second, guys. Maybe we won't because we're being silly. Discovery Ed. Hold on 1 second. So in a nutshell, who was W.E.B. Du Bois? What was he trying to accomplish? Mute yourselves, go ahead and start talking to me.
Founded the NAACP.
He was the founder of the NAACP. Anybody else want to keep going with us? What about Washington? What's going on with him?
He was trying to educate blacks to get them into the working force along with white people.
Right. And what school did he become dean or principal of?
Howard or no? I forgot.
Tuskegee Institute.
Yes, Tuskegee Institute. And that's over in Alabama, still a school to this day. Okay. All right, keep in mind here, you guys, Tuskegee Institute, Booker T. Washington arrived there in 1881, but the school was technically founded by Lewis Adams. Everybody got me on that? Tuskegee is always getting credits by Booker T. Washington. He became their first college dean or principal, but it was Lewis Adams who really fostered and built the school. Everybody got me on that? So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay. Anything else you guys want to add to about that? Or you guys feel pretty good?
Didn't it say that, I don't know if it said in the video, but I remember you saying that both of the guys didn't agree with each other's ideas or something like that?
Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting at. Thank you, Savannah. So Booker T. Washington was more so, okay, let's just go ahead and start trying to push ourselves up by understanding trade and get ourselves a skill. Whereas Du Bois was like, we need to get an education, and then the talented tenth, that's where it came from. His idea that the talented tenth of our race is going to help lead us forward. So you had two different ideologies of as far as education and how to progress forward during this time doing Jim Crow. You guys with me?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions?
So Booker T was more about all Black people getting an education and rising up than W.E.B. Du Bois, who was about like specifically talented of the.
It's kind of hard to say that about Booker T. Booker T was more so get a trade, get a skill. You see what I'm saying? Not everybody's gonna be getting an education. Like get a trade, get a skill, and that's how we show our worths. Because Booker T, that's how he did it. He got a trade, and that's how he was able to build himself up and got his education that way. Whereas W. Du Bois, you got to, for lack of a better phrase, you have some of the same. Did we talk about Willie Lynch? I don't think I did. Okay, so I got a t-shirt about Willie Lynch. Well, you have the idea of we'll do that probably Thursday. The idea that where you had a darker versus lighter, the lighter skin, who was W. Du Bois, he was able to go to college, he was able to be a little bit more progressed, whereas Booker T. Washington was darker skin, didn't have that. So you had some of those stereotypes and prejudice as far as the skin color. Whereas W. Bois was able to go to college, he went to Harvard, he got his degrees, and he was idea, okay, look, we need to get ourselves educated, but then he also understood not everybody's gonna be educated. Therefore, the talented 10th, that's what he coined it as, are the ones that are going to lead us. So that means only a certain percentage of us are going to be able to get doctoral degrees, things of that nature. If you look at that even today, there's not a lot of people that got doctoral degrees. There's a difference between honorary doctoral degrees and those people that got the real ones. You right got me on that? The reason I say that, there's a lot of people that got honorary, they ain't did nothing. It's technically not a doctoral degree. That means we're giving you this because we like you and thank you for doing something at our school. Is everybody got me on that? They did no research, no writing, or any kind of hell like I went through. That's okay. I got that out. But his idea was that there's only a few people going to do that. And as you guys matriculate, especially if you want to go through college, you understand it takes work to get to that doctoral degree. And he was saying not everybody's going to do that. This is what I want you guys to do now. Okay. All right. You guys have two documents. We have Booker T. Washington and we have one on W.E.B. Du Bois. You guys should have these open. You tell me how you guys want to do this. You guys want to read these out loud as a class and discuss them? Or do you guys want to read these independently?
As a class.
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 Okay, then. Let's do this as a class. Let's go ahead and start off with Booker T. Washington, okay? So give me a second. Nova, what's up? You got your hand up.
B texted me and told me to tell you that their internet connection is bad and they had to hop off the call and they'll be back.
Who was that?
B?
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, let's get into, and I'm recording this. Yes, I am still recording. All right, let's get into Booker T. Washington. So as you guys are doing this, what you wanted to probably do is have the other document, which is this fill-in sheet, completed. So what I want you guys to do this is before the reading. Give me a second. Let me look Cayenne. All right. You guys got to start off here with the sourcing section. So I'll give you guys an example. It says, what type of document is this when it was written? Well, I see here that it says, is everybody with me on this? You guys, so what you guys should be doing is answering these questions as we go through it together as a class. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say is that, well, I see when I look at the bottom, at the sources, see it was an excerpt from Booker T. Washington's Atlanta Compromise speech, written in 1865. That would be your answer. So on the worksheet, I would say this was a speech written in 1865. Is everybody got me on that? So I'm modeling this for you. So right here, what I would have put on my sheet of paper, and you guys don't have to probably turn this into me, is that this was a speech written in 1865.
Can we
Go ahead.
Can we write this, like, write everything on a piece of paper? Because it's just
Yes,
too much
definitely.
to, like,
Yeah, you
type out
definitely
and
can write
stuff.
all this on a piece of paper. Most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely do that. Okay. All right, we got that. Then we have Booker T. Washington probably believes. And then you also have, I think the audience is, and then based on the source of information, I predict Booker T. Washington will. So you guys can basically just start these on your own sheet of paper, and you're gonna finish writing it. So Booker T. Washington probably believes. We're gonna read the document. You write down what you believe. I think the audience is who you think he's speaking to, and then based on the source of information, I predict Booker T. Washington will do X, Y, and Z. Okay. And I typed into the chat what the essential question is. Can anybody read that out loud for us?
Who was a stronger advocate for Black Americans, Booker T. Washington or W.E.B. Du Bois?
Here we go. All right, let's get started, you guys. Who wants to start this reading?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Ignorant.
You can read it. That's what's gonna happen. Read as long as you want, and then when you want to stop, just call somebody else. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ignorant and inexperienced, it is not strange that in the first years of our new life, we began at the top instead of at the bottom. That a seat in Congress or the state legislature was more sought than real estate or industrial skill. That the political conviction or stump speaking had more attractions than starting a dairy farm or truck garden. I call on Noble.
Go ahead, Noble, on the second body paragraph now.
All right, thank you. A ship lost at sea for many days suddenly sighted a friendly vessel. From the mast of the unfortunate vessel was seen a signal: "Water, water, we die of thirst." The answer from the friendly vessel at once came back: "Cast down your bucket where you are." A second time the signal, "Water, water, send us water," ran up from the distressed vessel, and it was answered. What? Sorry.
Okay.
And a third and a fourth signal for water was answered: "Cast down your bucket where you are." The captain of the distressed vessel, at last heeding the injunction, cast down its bucket, and it came up full of fresh, sparkling water from the mouth of the Amazon River.
You can stop and call somebody else. Don't ever feel like you gotta do the whole thing. Call anybody else in the class.
Savannah.
All right, Savannah, we're right here where it says "to those of my race."
Wait. Can you put your thing on it again?
Yep.
Wait, I can't see.
Right here.
Okay. To those of my race who depend on bettering their condition in a foreign land or who underestimate the importance of cultivating friendly relations with the southern white man who is their next door neighbor, I would say, cast down your bucket where you are, cast it down and making friends in every manly way of the people of our races by whom we are surrounded. Cast it down in the agriculture, mechanics, in commerce, in the domestic service, and in the professions. No race can prosper till it learns that there is as much dignity in tilling a field as in writing a poem. It is at the bottom of the life we must begin and not at the top. Okay, that's it.
Call on anybody else you want to.
Takara.
Okay. Last body paragraph.
To those of the white race who look to the incoming of those of foreign birth
and strange tongue and habits for the prosperity of the South were where is that supposed to say where I permitted I would repeat what I say to my own race. Cast down your bucket where you are, cast it down among the 8 millions of Negroes whose habits you know, whose fidelity and love you have tested, as we have proved our loyalty to you in the past, in nursing your children, watching by the sick bed of your mothers and fathers, and often following them with tear-dimmed eyes to their graves. So in the future, in our humble way, we shall stand by you with the devotion that no foreigner can approach, ready to lay down our lives if we need be in defense of yours. In inter-
Interlacing.
interlacing our industrial, commercial, civil, and religious life with yours in a way that shall make the interests of both races one. In all things that are purely social, we can be as separate as the fingers, yet one as the hand in all things essential to mutual progress.
Okay. It's a lot right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and start seeing how we fill this out together, okay? All right. Booker T. Washington probably believes what? What would someone put there? What do you guys think? What do you think he believes? He probably believes what? Anybody?
Hard work will get you notoriety and keep you alive and out of trouble.
There you go, Moss. There we go. Again, these are opinions based off what we just read. Anybody else? You guys want to tell me? You want to tell you what I got? Or Nova, were you about to say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I think he, like, in a more, I lost what I was gonna say.
That's okay. Just write it down. This is what I got. And you guys cannot write down what I got. You got to come up with your own ideas. But this is what I got from the reading. Booker T. Washington probably believes that Southern Blacks should learn useful skills so that they could get jobs. He also probably believes that it's important to have supports of whites. Is everybody got me on that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what I got from the reading. Okay. The next part of the worksheet says, I think the audience is. Who do you guys think the audience is? We kind of answered it in the beginning when we said the first question. Like the first question says, what type of document is this and when was it written? The answer to the audience is also there. So who do you guys think the audience is?
Black people.
The struggling blacks.
It's probably twofold. I think I agree with what you guys saying. This is what I put. I think the audience is mostly the white audience in Atlanta, Georgia. I think he was trying to appeal to the white audience and saying, hey, do not be afraid of what we're doing. We actually want to work with you. And this is how we're going to do it. You guys follow me on that?
Yep.
Conversely, he's talking to, like what Moss said, maybe the poor blacks, like, hey, this is how you can now better yourselves. So my answer would say, I think the audience is mostly the white audience in Atlanta, Georgia, and also maybe poor blacks. Is everybody got me on that?
Yeah.
And again, y'all can't write down the same thing I'm writing, or I'm telling you. You got to come up with your own. All right. Now, so the next one's going to be the prediction. Okay. So, based on the source information, I predict Booker T. Washington will what? What do you guys predict that Booker T. Washington will do?
Go on to inspire blacks and whites to coexist with one another through hard work and labor and understanding one another through actions and character.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think he will guide people and encourage them through what he believes in.
It might be
Okay.
just under.
Okay. Now, give you guys my example again. So, based on the sourcing information, I predict Booker T. Washington will try to say stuff that white people want to hear. He might say stuff that convinces white people to donate to his school. Does everybody follow me there?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I think. So you guys can write down what I think, but that's what I have. All right, so the rest of the worksheet, I'm gonna leave that for you guys to do on your own. All right, everybody got me on that?
Yep.
So you guys will do the last parts right here on your own. Let's go over now to W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay. Let's go over to W.E.B. All right. All right, first off, this is W. Du Bois. This is a book that he wrote called The Souls of Black Folk, which came out Chicago 1903. So this is based off a book. Does everybody got me there?
All right.
Yep.
So,
Okay. So let's go ahead and start doing some popcorn reading. So this is gonna be reading a lot different because this is an excerpt from his book. Whereas Du Bois is an excerpt from his book, whereas Washington was a speech he gave in Atlanta. Does everybody see the differences so far?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead. Who's gonna start reading for us?
I can.
and I can't
Go ahead.
believe they don't have any information.
Easily the most striking thing in the history of the American Negro since 1876 is the ascendancy of Mr. Booker T. Washington. It began at the time when war memories and ideals were rapidly passing. A day of astonishing commercial development was dawning. A sense of doubt and hesitation overtook the Freedom Sons. Then it was that his leading began. Mr. Washington came with a simple, definite program at the physiological moment when the nation was a little ashamed of having bestowed so much sentiment of Negroes during Reconstruction and was concentrating its energies on dollars.
Yeah. All right, call on somebody to read for us.
Devon.
And you just start on the second paragraph. Devon, it's up to you now.
Yeah, Mr. Washington's program practically accepts the alleged inferiority of the Negro races. Mr. Washington withdraws many of the high demands of Negroes as men and American citizens. In answer to this, it has been claimed that the Negro can survive only through submission. Mr. Washington distinctly asked that Black people give up, at least for the present, three things. First, political power. Second, insistence on civil rights. Third, higher education of Negro youth, and concentrate all their energies on industrial education and accumulation of wealth and consolation of the South. This policy has been courageously and insistently advocated for over 15 years and has been triumphant for perhaps 10 years. Could you scroll up for me, please? I actually don't have the document open.
All right.
As a result of this tender of the palm branch, what has been the return? In 3 years, there have occurred the disfranchisement of the Negro,
And you can call somebody else if you want to.
Okay.
I actually lost where you are. Where are you right now?
I'm on the I'm at the bottom where it starts counting number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so the disfranchisement of the Negro, the legal creation of distinct status of civil inferiority for the Negro, a steady withdrawal of aid from institutions for the higher training of the Negro. And I'll choose Westby.
Okay.
All right. We're at the third hire, correct?
His doctrine right here.
His doctrine had tended to make the whites, North and South, shift the burden of the Negro population to the Negro's shoulders, and stand aside as critical and rather pessimistic spectators, when in fact the burden belongs to the nation, and the hands of none of us are clean if we do not bend to our enemies to righting those great wrongs.
All right. So now let's go to our document. So let me do a couple things here, help some people out. Give me 1 second. This is all in CTLS, but I want to make sure everybody does. We're not going to do a debate. You guys going to have to submit this to CTLS. Has everybody got me on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's better with us doing it kind of out loud. And then for those people that's participating, I got y'all marked. So thank you very much for that. So I just posted a link to the primary documents that you guys are using. And this is what we're answering. Your answers to this is what you guys gonna have to submit to CTLS. Does everybody follow me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I'm posting that link for that right now in the chat as well. And this is all for you guys already in CTLS. But what I want to do right now, I want you guys to take about 2 to 3 minutes real quick and think about what you did with sourcing. So the first part right here. So we did the first part for Booker T. Washington already. And I'm recording this so you guys go back and look at it. You guys get some ideas from that. In fact, you know what? If you guys want to just write down what I got, that's fine. I'm not going to be mad at that. But you guys got to do the rest. Is that even better?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you guys will be 100% responsible for the contextualization part and the post reading, and at the end will be the combination part. So what I need you guys to do real quick is take some time, about maybe 2-3 minutes, see what you guys can draft out here as far as W.E. Du Bois for the sourcing, okay? Then I'm gonna come back together, hear a couple from you guys, and tell you guys what I got. Cool?
Yep.
Yep.
And this assignment is going in the grade book, y'all.
And this is due today, right?
Yeah, you guys want to put your responses in today by 11:59. You may have turn it in late, but this will be deduction, but because we're doing half of it in class. And I'm doing your Jim Crow raps today, so I'm looking forward to it. About another minute. All right, let's start talking about WEB. All right. What type of document is this and when was it written? I told you that already. It is a book and it was written in what year, y'all?
1903.
Well, say it again.
1903.
1903. All right, now let's talk about the organizer. W.E.B. Du Bois probably believes what? What does he believe?
I said, this is some of that. I said he believes we should speak and go against whites. I mean, I think.
Savannah, remember what you said, but let me kind of go back to the first question, okay? So it's a book that was written in what year again? 19 what? Or published? 1903. So now I think the audience is for Black American intellectuals, probably people who live in the North, though maybe white Northerners too. Does everybody got me on that? That's so again, you think about like when you write something, you always write this for certain people in mind. So I'll make the argument that if the audience is for Black American intellectuals, remember those people that are in school, are educated, but probably, and those probably also who live in the North because they're more likely to be educated, though maybe also white Northerners too. From the document, I would guess that Black Americans at this time were feeling very frustrated with what was happening down in the South. So that means it's coming from a Northern perspective. So Booker T. Washington is going to give you the Southern perspective, and W.E.B. is give you the Northern perspective. And that these Black Americans in the North are annoyed that Washington was kissing up, quote unquote, to white people. Everybody got me on that? Okay. So that's kind of where I would make the argument as far as based on me reading this, and I got some background knowledge on this too as well. That's what I think the audience was. And then kind of going to what Savannah was getting at. What do you think W.E.B. believes? I'm asking you guys. What do you think that W.E.B. believes?
In this document, it looks like he believes that Mr. Washington was, I guess, stating how we should be in submission or just let white people, guess, push us around or lead us in a way, and see he's painting us as being inferior. It says
who Washington is?
Yes.
Okay. And then I kind of already mentioned this, but who do you think the audience is?
Black intellectuals.
Yeah.
And white.
What are Black intellectuals? What are Black intellectuals?
People that go to school.
Say it again.
Blacks that have gone to school.
Yeah, blacks that went to school, but also have degrees. Everybody got me on that? This is back when having a degree is very, very popular. So for instance, if I was living during this time period, I'll be touted in a community because I have my doctoral degree. Everybody got me on that? And to be able to say, hey, Dr. T, well, that'd be such a high honor. Nowadays, it's like, okay, yeah, you got it, cool. But yeah. Back then, it's like you'd be more popular than the president at this point because it did not happen. Everybody got me on that? It still kind of doesn't happen, but you think about it. But that's who the odds would be. But then also, were he talking to more Northerners or Southerners here?
Northerners.
Definitely Northerners because they typically be more educated. Typically, that's a stereotype. Now, I'm not saying all Southerners were uneducated, but the stereotype was typically more your Northerners were. All right. What do you do? What do you predict Du Bois might do? What do you predict what Du Bois might do? Anybody? What do you guys predict Du Bois may do? Don't be scared. Remember, only wrong answer is the no answer.
Push the idea that Black Americans should just fight back in any chance they can when it comes to just not letting white Americans, I guess, seem superior to them, especially in education.
Agreed. Agreed on that. Anybody else? Because in a second, I'm gonna call on people to answer questions I have. I have about a dozen questions about to ask. All right, so let me show this to you guys real quick. NCTLS. All right, so the Washington DuBois worksheet that you guys are working on right now, you guys will submit your answers right here to CTLS by 11:59. You can't submit it late, but it's gonna be on time by 11:59 today. Is everybody clear there?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. You also have another assignment where I need you guys to go watch a movie. You guys gonna watch this film here, Many Rivers Cross. It's about a little bit under an hour. You guys have film questions here. I put timestamps. Well, I got this from somebody. They put timestamps on it, but they're wrong. So just watch the film, answer the questions. You want to submit this by tomorrow at 11:59. Is everybody got me on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That film was already kind of connect everything for us. It's going to start off with the migration west, talk about Jim Crow, and it's going to push us past. We're right now in the 1900s. It's going to push us all the way up to that point, and then really kind of talk about what things are going. It's basically it's episode 4 of the series, and it's titled "Making a Way Out of No Way." Is everybody got me there? That's due tomorrow by 11:59. Watch the film, and I already gave you guys a link to the film right here. Here are the film questions. Type them in, write on a piece of paper, take a picture wherever you want, put them here. And then by tonight, you guys have to submit the rest of your questions for the Booker T. Washington and W. DuBois. Again, type it, take a picture of it, upload it where you want to do, but this is due by 11:59. So what we started today, 11:59 tonight. And then tomorrow, I need you guys to go watch a movie. Both of those assignments can be submitted late, but you want to get those in as soon as humanly possible because late work, I do take down points. Everybody got me on that? Y'all with me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so I'm about to call some people, so be ready. So first, for like a whole class discussion, we'll do this for like the last 7-8 minutes. Washington has been a very controversial figure. Some historians say that he was a quote-unquote sellout who kissed up to white people. Others say he was realistic about the situation in the South and tried to avoid inciting white hostility. Do you guys understand what I'm saying so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I call on somebody. Why do you think that was? Let me go to first. Let me go to Devon. Why do you think that was?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. So Mr. Washington is a very controversial figure. Some historians say that he was a quote unquote sellout who kissed up to white people. Others say he was realistic about the situation in the South, and he tried to avoid inciting white hostility. Why do you think that was?
So why do I think he was considered a sellout?
Oh, why do you think some people consider him a sellout? And why do you think some people say that he was just very realistic of what was going on in the South and wanted to try to stop hostility? In other words, he wanted to stop more lynchings from occurring.
Okay, so some people could consider him a sellout because, like when we were reading the text, I read some things that he was saying that he wanted Black people to stop. He basically just wanted us to completely give up, because, being below white people were just where we belonged, pretty much his words, and that we shouldn't try. And so that's why people consider him a sellout, because everybody was fighting for, our rights and stuff. Everybody wanted us to, become equal and get out of the spot we were in. And we have him saying that we should just give up. So you could be considered a sellout for that. And Also, it could be taken as, oh, he just wants to have a better position with white people because he's educated. He wants to, stand out and stuff. So people can, I could see that. And also from the perspective of, he wants to keep people safe by taking a realistic standpoint. Realistically, it really didn't make sense for, like realistically, the how do I put it?
Take your time.
Like just in the spot where we are, it was kind of where we were. It was dumb to be fighting the way we were with the time period that it was in, because they were just easily killing us off. It was clear that the amendments didn't matter to anybody when it came to voting and stuff. And even today, there's still no law against lynching. So it's, it was inherently clear back then that it didn't really matter to anybody who wasn't Black what happened to Black people.
All right. Ms. Brown, Ms. R. Adams, anything you guys want to add to that conversation?
I personally don't think that Booker T. Washington was a sellout, but I do understand why people would say that he was kissing up to white people, because he was using, or I guess some people could say that he was using white people to build himself up and make himself more of an intellectual and build up his career and getting jobs and stuff. So that's probably why they would consider him a sellout, or him kissing up to white people, even though he was just trying to find a way for Black people to be able to rise up and be able to be more stable members of society by being able to kiss up to white people.
And you guys got to keep this in mind. I'm gonna kind of just, again, I got a little bit more background on this, and then I want you guys to continue to research. But keep this in mind anytime you look at anybody, because think about social media today. Booker T. Washington was a former slave. Has everybody got me on that? And I'm playing some serious devil advocate here. Washington was a former slave. DuBois wasn't. When you live through slavery, you see things in the world differently. Would y'all agree with that?
Yes.
And he also was living in the South where things was a lot harder. Because remember, we already talked about the Great Migration. You had Blacks fleeing the South, going up north, right? So he had his education. He had to work hard to get to where he was. And I'm not going to say he was a South. I'm not saying he wasn't, because that's really kind of, you make your own opinion on it. But you could definitely say he was trying to help in the sense, like you said right here, look at the quote here. Cast it down in agriculture, mechanics, in commerce, in domestic service, and in the professions. No race can prosper till it learns that there is as much dignity in tilling a field as writing a poem. Did y'all hear what he said right there?
Yeah.
He's saying you can't dignify me just because I can write a poem. It takes hard work to be able to turn soil. We all need that same respect. That's kind of where our argument is coming from. I'm not saying no one's wrong. We take our own opinion. Your own opinion is how you see the view. I'm just using that one quote from the article that the speech he gave. Y'all follow me there? Okay. Next question. What was DuBois' critique of Washington? Do you think he makes a good point? Why or why not? So I'm gonna go to the DuBois article, and you guys can do the same thing too. Kind of do like a verbal debate, if you will. What was DuBois' critique of Washington? Do you think he makes a good point? Why or why not? Anybody want to just answer this? I'm gonna give you an opportunity to get your points.
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah. What was DuBois' critique of Washington? Do you think he makes a good point? Why or why not?
I can answer.
Go ahead, Sean.
All right, cool. So Du Bois' critique of Washington is he believes that he is selling up to white people in the South for his own personal gain. And I think that his point could be interpreted in two different ways. on one side of the coin, it does look like he is selling out to white people for himself. But to play devil's advocate like you just did, you got to think about it this way. Booker T. Washington just got freed from slavery. He has zero to no knowledge. And that's the reality of a lot of African Americans in the South. And keep in mind that Northern African Americans and Southern African Americans did not get along because they're competing for jobs, housing, stuff for their families, and stuff like that. And people confuse selling out to being inquisitive because my whole thing is this. If you don't have any knowledge on how to get an education, how to make money efficiently during that time, how to provide for your family, then African Americans all across the country are going to be in the same state. So I think that anyone can argue any side of the point, but I think that it was an unfair statement to make.
Anybody else want to add to that? Thank you, Sean. Good points.
I feel like with Booker T. Washington, I feel like his whole since he was a former slave, I feel like he understood how the South, how white people in the South were, and how I think his mentality was if you can't beat them, join them. And so I think he used political power and education to offset the other things that we went through, that Black people go through in the South. Me being from the South, I know how it is. And me being told as a little kid that if you don't get your education, then you're still gonna be looked at as less than, and your education is the only thing they can't take away from you. So yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next question. Again, I got like two more here. Why might some of Washington supporters say that Du Bois didn't understand what life was like in the South? I got another one coming up. Ask that again. Why might some of Washington supporters say that Du Bois did not understand what life was like down here in the South during this time period? Anybody want to tackle this? Again, you guys responding is getting points for today.
Because one, he was from the North, and Black people, the treatment of Black people in the North and the treatment of the Black people in the South were completely different. Even to this day, it's still completely different.
Okay, thank you, Jalen. Anybody else?
And also you can tell by his the people that he was writing his book for, his audience were all Northerners or educated Black people. So you could tell he has no knowledge of what it's like to be a Southerner.
And you know what? That was one of my biggest gripes with Booker T. Washington. The average person could not read his work. Does everybody have me on that? It's very hard to reach people if they cannot understand you. So I know, like for me, when I wrote my dissertation, I made sure no matter what, I wrote it to where anybody could read it. I wanted to make sure that my kid could read it when he gets to middle school. Everybody got me on that? I didn't write using big educated words, quote unquote. I did not sound like a doctor writing it. I wrote it for the typical person to read it. If you go look at Du Bois, look at that. Look at the two sources y'all got. There's a big difference in the audience and how it was written. Can you guys tell that difference? Mind you, Booker T. Washington was a speech. Du Bois was a book, but it's a totally different level of vernacular, if you will, there. And that's a big one. So thank you for that one, Melanie. Let's continue that. Based on what he wrote, do you think Du Bois was clueless about what was happening in the South? So based on what he wrote with the souls of Black folk, do you think that he was clueless what was going on down here in the South? Be very careful because you got to make sure you support yourself here. Do you think Du Bois was clueless what was going on in the South? Anybody go again? These y'all points. Y'all great.
I feel like he was clueless. I feel like he was clueless with because I feel like when he read Washington's speech or whatever, I feel like the first thing he saw was, oh, he's selling out like everyone else thought, and two, he's giving up in a way against the movement. But in a way, I feel like Washington was just saying that, like I said earlier, oh my bad, sorry. But in order for us to get ahead, we have to have an education. I feel like when Du Bois saw that, I feel like he thought Washington was just saying to bow down and give up on everything else and just go get an education. That's all you have to do.
Anybody else want to add to that? Thanks, man.
I don't think he was clueless. I just don't think he experienced it in the same way that native Southerners did.
Okay. So you think maybe his experiences in the North was just different than those from the South?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Noble Rain because if you look at it this way, being a modern African American, I know about kids somewhere in Africa. I know the situation and stuff like that. Not to make any generalizations, but that in itself, that's only me looking at certain sources that's showing what kids in Africa are going through. I don't really know everything that's going on. I don't see every dynamic of the picture, but I'm just going off of like one source and off of one person. So I don't think that he was necessarily clueless per se, but if you don't do any more research into what's going on, then you literally don't know what's going on.
Agreed.
Okay. Any other comments there? We got one more question to go. If you guys are not answering, you put a lot more pressure on you to finish that document. And that document is opinion-based, but there is right or wrong answers there. All right, so now the last one. So based on both of these documents that we read out loud today in class, who do you think was the stronger advocate for the rights of Black Americans? Was it Booker T or W. Du Bois? Be able to support your answer with the document. So I'm going to ask again. Who do you think was a stronger advocate for the rights of Black Americans? Was it Booker T. Washington or W.B. Du Bois? And be able to support yourself with the documents. Anybody wants to get their points, go ahead and get it.
I think what Du Bois was because he
they had the same story.
he didn't
I have
want.
a hard time hearing you, Savannah. There's a lot of background noise.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, I said I think what Du Bois was because I feel like he was trying to. I think he was the one who said he didn't want to. Well, not he didn't want to, but he wanted Black people to talk against and like speak for their rights instead of making amends with the white people that was trying to go against them. I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I'm right.
You fine.
And then I think it has said something about that in Web Devices documents.
Okay.
About how they should. Let me see. Okay, it said, "And the hands of none are clean if we bend not our energies to righting these great wrongs." I don't know. It was something that you had stated in the thing about how we should, how he thinks we should not speak against. Well, I'm getting confused here, so I don't know.
Walking through it. Anybody want to help out? Who you guys think who was a stronger advocate for the rights of Black Americans during this time period, based on the documents, Booker T or W.E.B.?
Even though I agree with Booker T, well, I don't agree with Booker T, but I understand where he's coming from, just because he's somewhere from the South and we do live in Georgia. But I would say that W.E.B. he had the stronger argument, because I feel like Washington was just saying, I feel like he was more or less saying, it is what it is. Like, you just have to accept this is how it is. And so, and with Du Bois, I feel like he was saying, well, it is what it is. Of course, so yes, this is what's going on, but at the same time, you should still speak up. You should still go out and try to make a change, and not just say, well, I'm gonna sit here and go get my education and make my money and eventually try to blend in with them. He was saying you can still do that, but still speak up when you are given that platform. Still speak up.
Cool. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. Go ahead, Noble.
Oh, I was gonna say, like it feels like what I agree with Savannah and Jalen about how W.E.B. Du Bois was like the bigger advocate, but coming from where Washington was standing, it's the mainly like you have to work twice as hard to be accepted, whereas W.E.B. was like, why should we have to work twice as hard?
Okay, cool. Good one, guys. All right, does anybody got any questions for me? What do you guys have to submit tonight by 11:59?
Both of the sheets.
Yes, your responses to the worksheets. Perfect, 11:59. What is due tomorrow by 11:59?
The movie.
Film notes.
The film knows many rivers to cross. Again, the film's about an hour long. You got a lot of questions there. So just watch as you can stop and go as you want, okay? Is everybody clear there?
Yeah.
Any questions? I had someone ask a question saying they in early class, like say they didn't understand the homework assignment. And when I listen to these recordings, when I edit, I constantly keep asking y'all good? Any questions? You gotta make sure you speak up. That way I can help you guys out. Tomorrow there is remediation day. For the most part, all you need to do is just go ahead and make sure you guys watch the videos. I'll be here in case people need my help for anything. But if you come in, you join us, make sure you guys got specific questions. Otherwise, that's all I got for you guys today. You guys have a blessed and beautiful cloudy day, but make sure you still stay nice, hot, and sunshine inside. So I'll talk to y'all later on. Take it easy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.